Thank you all for coming this morning. We're honored to be here. As you can tell, we're pretty oil and gas focused, so that is a big deal in Houston still. Maybe in 5 years, we'll be talking about Microsoft and Apple and Tesla, but right now it's still energy. I've known Tim for 25 years. I've just met Stephen. But anyway, I think we can have a robust discussion, and we'd be glad to take your questions when we're finished talking. After 2024 in the oil and gas space that was full of M&A, some huge deals, we thought 2025 would be another great year. Tim, do you think it will be? How has it started off, and what are the barriers maybe that the government has put on things to?
Sure. Well, I guess starting in 2025, all the investment bankers were very hopeful. Not that anyone weeps for investment bankers, that it would be an amazing year. Unfortunately, it hasn't been an amazing year, and in fact, it even looks softer. So the data, if you just want to talk about the data, which probably surprises some people, relative to 2024, in the U.S., M&A volume is down 15% dollar-wise, and that's at the end of the first quarter. Now globally, it's been up about 2%, which kind of tells you a little bit what's been happening. And we obviously need to talk about what's happened since the quarter end. The last 2 weeks have been pretty amazing, and I know we'll talk about this morning. But basically, we've seen the rest of the world start to come back, particularly Europe, and M&A has gone up significantly in Europe, actually, through the first part of this year. But M&A, as you think about it from a practitioner side, it's all about the U.S. The total U.S. M&A volume represents around year over year, around 60%, over half of the M&A in the world is right here in the U.S. And unfortunately, again, for the investment bankers, it's been down 15%. We can start to talk about some of those reasons why and such this morning, but that's the data.
Another interesting data point from stuff that we track at law firms, any deal of significance typically has an HSR filing. You got to get through antitrust approval. In a given year, there are usually about 3,300 antitrust filings made. And in the first quarter, that number was about 600. And so if you extrapolate that, it's even, on some of these major deals, it's even maybe more dire than the 15% figure. The other thing, there was some positivity in March. We started seeing more deals happening, and there was a slight uptick. But I think that door got shut pretty quick at the end of March with the tariffs or at the beginning of April with the tariffs coming on.
Well, Stephen, you mentioned something last night at dinner about how quickly things might turn.
Yep.
You said yesterday, as soon as the stock market ran up, 2 clients called and said, we want to re-engage. So that's pretty impressive.
That's the optimistic side of it. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's still thinking. You guys are all directors. You're on boards. Your companies are still thinking about strategic things. You don't shut it down just because there's noise in the market. But deals that make a lot of sense strategically, people were like, you bill by the hour. Let's not do too much on this. And then right after the announcement, I was actually in a lunch meeting. I didn't even know it was happening, and some of my former colleagues were texting on a string about how crazy it was. And then I got those calls, and it was, we're not going full bore because I want to see how this pans out. But if this is where we're headed, then potentially we will start re-engaging on these deals.